Welcome back to the TalkYours podcast. It has officially been a week of the NBA season. So let's just get right into it. First thing we're going to do is our week one NBA power rankings. Then we'll get into the gambling. We'll get into how good the rookies have been. Just a lot of different stuff, a lot of good conversation. Well, let's just go ahead and start it off. Week one NBA power rankings. We're only going to do our top 10 because those are the only teams that are important. I'm going to give all of mine, and then Cam's going to give all of his. And it's going to be very different, I promise. Number 10, I have the Portland Trailblazers. And I'm only going to dive a little bit into each team, but overall, they're 2-2. But they've had a pretty tough schedule. Now, the Warriors were on a back-to-back when Portland beat them, and then Portland did also beat the Lakers without LeBron or Luka. But their two losses have been close losses to good teams. Overall, they're playing just amazing, solid basketball of Drew Holiday, Denny, Shaden Sharp, Donovan Clingan. Just everyone's kind of just doing their part, and I think they're good enough for this top 10. Number 9, Miami Heat. Uh, Somehow 2-1. Now I wasn't too low going into the year when it came to Miami, but like the fact that they are winning games without Tyler Hero, I thought they'd be one of those teams that really just caught up near the end once they got healthy. And no, Bam Adebayo's been doing his thing. Norman Powell's been averaging like 25, which is just insane. Number 8, I have the Chicago Bulls. 3-0. Unfortunately, they beat my team. They beat the Orlando Magic, and then they beat who else did they beat?
The Pistons.
The Pistons, yeah. So 3 pretty impressive wins if you look at how good you thought teams were going to be going into the season. Josh Giddey was amazing. Vucevic had 28 in his first night. Matas has been amazing for 2 of the 3 games. And then Trey Jones randomly is averaging like 4 steals a game. So shout out Trey Jones. So number 6, I have the Golden State Warriors. I was not high on them going into the season, but they're already 3-1. They beat the Lakers. Their only loss was to Portland, who I just said Portland has been pretty good. They beat the Nuggets in a close game, and then who else did they beat?
They beat the Nuggets, they beat the Lakers, and they beat the Grizzlies.
And the Grizzlies, yeah, who are supposed to be good.
Also, you said number 6.
Number 6.
You skipped over number 7.
Oh, I did. Oh my gosh. Okay, number 7. I have the Philadelphia 76ers. They're already 3-0. They haven't had too many impressive wins, but overall, they might have so far this season the best backcourt, second best backcourt in the league to the Lakers in Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. And Embiid didn't even play Game 3. Game 1, Joel Embiid, he played. He was not good. He was absolutely terrible. So overall, they're undefeated. I have to kind of put them in the top 10, in my opinion. I understand if you don't, but that's just, I mean, I'm going to reward you if you're winning games. But yeah, they've been amazing. Golden State Warriors finally started Kuminga, and Kuminga has been killing it, playing his role. They are 3-1. At number 5, I have the San Antonio Spurs, which is ridiculous how good they've been. They haven't had too many impressive wins. They haven't beat you were telling me earlier they haven't beat a single playoff team that made the playoffs last season, but like they have the best point differential in the league. Wemby's been dominating. They only had that one close game to the Pelicans, I think. Or maybe they had another close game. I'm forgetting. But Wemby has been unstoppable. Stephon Castle's done his thing. We'll talk about Dylan Harper later. Number 4. Now we're going to get to the actual teams that I thought would be really good. The New York Knicks. I believe they're 2-1 or 3-1. Just all around. Brunson's been amazing. McCall's done his thing. OG's done his thing. And they're doing this without. I mean, Josh Hart missed the first 1 or 2 games. Towns has been kind of battling an injury, but he's been playing. Mitchell Robinson's been out as well. And overall, their bench pickups of Yabusele and Jordan Clarkson, and they already had McBride. They're killing it. At number 3, I have the Denver Nuggets. I mean, they had that close loss to the Warriors game 1, but overall, I mean, the other 2 games they dominated. It wasn't that good of teams, but Jokic has just been doing his thing. He had 1 miss yesterday, which is ridiculous. Number 2, Cleveland Cavaliers. They were my number 2 team going into the season. Or no, they were the team I had winning the championship, but not like wins wise. They've been killing it without Garland. Hunter's finally back, and he's hooping. Mobley's been doing his thing for most of the games. And then number 1, I have the OKC Thunder. They're the pretty obvious one. 4-0 already. The only team with 4 wins, I believe.
Nope, Spurs also have 4
Oh,
wins.
Spurs also have 4. But Thunder have actually had some impressive wins, and without J-Dub, and some games without Kaysen, without. I think Dort might have missed 1 game. Caruso's been missing games. So even through the injuries, they are still the best team in the league. Absolutely ridiculous. Let me hear your top 10.
Interesting top 10. I think, yeah, it was an interesting top 10. I think I respect a lot of the people you put in the top teams you put in the top 10. I think we're just gonna have some different placements. Save one team. There was one team that was definitely missing from your top 10 that I think overreacting to a little bit. So number 10, I have the Chicago Bulls. You had them at 8. I have them at 10 for a lot of the reasons you have them at 8. I had them finishing, I think it was 12th in the East to start the year. And they've looked really good so far. No Kobe White, so they're missing their best player, and they've still gone out and beat 3 very good teams. Trey Jones is looking like a really good replacement point guard, and then once Kobe White comes back, a really good backup point guard, because I would assume that's the role he's going to play. Giddy Vucevic, they look pretty good. I just, I want to see a little bit more once Kobe White comes back, and also this Trey Jones heater that he's on, which it's not a scoring heater, but it's definitely a basketball heater. It is something I don't think is going to last necessarily, but we'll see what happens. Number 9, I have the Detroit Pistons. I had the Pistons at 4 in the East coming into the year. I think they have looked shaky at times, but they've also played a couple really good teams. Their last loss was to the Cavs, and they also beat the Rockets. They have some solid wins. They're going to get Jaden Ivey back. Cade has not played his best basketball as of late, and I don't think that will last. I think Cade is going to, even out and have a really good season, better than his last season. So I don't think this is something to be concerned about for them. At number 8, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. I think their backcourt's been absolutely amazing. VJ Edgecombe has been the best rookie through the first week by far. And Tyrese Maxey looks like a legit number 1 option. Obviously, Joel Embiid does not look like his MVP self or like the Joel Embiid that we've come to expect. And it's kind of sad to see, but it makes you think maybe it's time for Philadelphia to move on. Especially with VJ Edgecombe coming into his own. Jared McCain's going to be coming back later this season. You even have Quentin Grimes off the bench. Maybe you just get what you can for Joel Embiid at this point in time. But overall, the Philadelphia 76ers look really good. They're 3-0, and I'm excited to watch that backcourt every time they're going to be on TV. At number 7, I have the Denver Nuggets. Now, I had the Denver Nuggets finishing 3rd in the West to start the year, and I have dropped them a little bit in my estimation. I probably would have had them as a top 5 team earlier this year. And that is simply because although they have won 2 games and lost a close one, and Jokic has looked good, they have yet to really impress me as far as their play. I think Cam Johnson looks very okay. He does not look like an improvement over Michael Porter Jr. as of right now, and that's a big deal. And I have yet to really feel the impact of their offseason signings in Jonas Valanciunas and Bruce Brown. But we'll see. It's early in the season. At number 6, this is the team I felt like you had missing. I have the Houston Rockets. I had them finishing 2nd. I have them winning the championship. Obviously, they've dropped a little bit for me, but I think you lose a double overtime game to the defending champs on the road on their ring ceremony night. That's pretty impressive, especially when Amen Thompson goes out in the 4th quarter with cramping. I think they lost another close game to the Pistons, who are a team that we both believe is at least going to be good this year. And they're a super physical team, and they match up well with the Rockets. Obviously, their win was against the Nets. So going off their wins and losses, you can't really say that this team should be top 10. But I think given what we know about them and given what we have actually seen from them, even in their loss against the Thunder and their loss against the Pistons, they are still a very good team. And I think they will figure out how to operate without a point guard here very soon. Amen Thompson had 8 assists last night, and I think he's going to become the de facto point guard. At number 5, same spot you had him. I have the San Antonio Spurs. Now, look, I had them, I believe it was 8th coming into this season. No, 7th. I had them 7th.
In
right?
the West.
In the West. Not overall, in the West. And they have far exceeded my expectations. Not just Victor Wembanyama, although he has looked absolutely incredible. I don't think more needs to even be said about him. But you also look at guys like Stephon Castle, who have played great to start the season. Dylan Harper's had a solid start to the season. Devin Vassell's had some good scoring games. These guys are really playing their role very well. Obviously, the defense is nowhere close to what it is when Wemby's off the court versus on the court. But offensively, they are still holding their own very much when he's off the court, and I think that is super important. At number 4, I have the New York Knicks. This was a team I had finishing 2nd in the East, and I think they have pretty much played exactly how I would expect them to play to open the year. I don't really have a ton to say about them. The guys that we expect to be good have been good. Mikal Bridges had like an insane opening night, and then since then has kind of just gone back to playing how he normally plays. Knicks are good. We know that. At number 3, I have the Golden State Warriors. I was higher on the Warriors entering the season, so I think it makes sense that I'm higher on them going into these power rankings. I think the kind of renaissance of Jonathan Kuminga in that offense has been a big deal and will be a big deal going forward. I think they're showing more confidence in him. They're putting the ball in his hands more. And I think that is a big deal because he's also rewarding that and he's showing his growth as a playmaker. And I also think his rebounding and his effort on the defensive end has improved a lot too. So I think the Warriors are going to be dangerous this year. And if you look at the way they're calling fouls on Steph Curry now on closeouts, it's going to be really hard to guard that man, especially come playoff time. Number 2, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were my number 2 team going into the year in terms of record in the regular season. They stay right there. They've done exactly what I expected them to do. One loss to the Knicks, but a loss by 8 points to the Knicks where you were tied going into the fourth quarter without Darius Garland is a pretty good loss.
Or Hunter. Yeah.
Or Hunter. It's a pretty good loss. And number 1, obviously, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They haven't lost a game yet. They were the best team going into the year. There's no way you could move them down. They're the best team right now.
No, and they'll likely start 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not mad at you being that high on the Warriors. Actually, I saw NBA.com's power rankings, and they had the Warriors at 2, which I think is a little insane. But you know what? That's not too crazy. I'm surprised the Nuggets at 6.
I had the Nuggets at 7 actually,
or 7.
Yeah,
that's pretty insane to me. Because they're one loss. I mean, I'm not saying they've had impressive wins. They really haven't.
No,
because they beat the Suns, and then they beat who did they beat last game? It was a super easy team. Oh, the Wolves,
yeah,
but it was
Wolves,
without.
but it was
Anthony Edwards.
Here's the thing about their win against the Warriors, or not their win, their loss against the Warriors too. Yes, they went to overtime. Yes, they played them close. Aaron Gordon had 50 points. Aaron Gordon missed 1 3-pointer. He was like 9 for 10, 10 for 11 from 3. That will not happen again. That will not happen the rest of this season. Okay, so I can understand it. It was a close game. I can understand all this stuff. That was an anomaly. The Warriors played better than the Nuggets that night. And if Aaron Gordon doesn't have the best game of his career, far and away, it's not even making it to overtime, in my opinion.
I get that, but I don't think you can hold that against them that he had 50 points.
I don't hold that against them, but let's say, because he was open, right? They're probably swinging it to him regardless in those situations. If he had 40 points, they lose by 10. If he had an incredible game where he missed 3 more 3-pointers and still went 7 for 11 from 3, which is a great night, they lose by 10.
I can see that, but part of me just the fact that I had him so good going into the season, and I guess you had the Rockets. I don't like that Rockets ranking because their only win is to the Nets. You can't have a team top 10 if you've played 3 games and your only win is to the Brooklyn Nets.
I just
they've shown nothing.
You had them second in the West too, didn't you? Or you had them third in the West?
I'm 4th.
You had them 4th in the West.
Or okay. It might even no. It was either 4th or 5th. It was definitely because I had the Clippers over them, and I had the
you were lower on them. But in my opinion,
Nuggets, yeah.
in my opinion, they're a team that you just can't overreact to. If the Thunder started the season 1-3, I wouldn't overreact to it either. I would still have the Thunder top 10. It doesn't really matter what their losses and their wins look like because it's still a good basketball team. And let's be honest, if the Rockets win that double overtime game, which they very well could have, you would have them top 10 easily if they were 2-1 with a win against the Thunder.
Maybe, but also the Thunder win isn't as impressive without J-Dub. I mean,
but they didn't have Amen Thompson down the stretch of the game. I mean,
that's true. They still had him most of the game. They still had KD. I think it's just the way that they're playing. It's not about the wins or the losses. It's about the fact that also the Pistons you had top 10. I just every time I've watched the Pistons, I have been unimpressed because that offense is looking abysmal. And I know Jaden Ivey will come back, but the fact that they don't even have a backup ball handler besides those two. I mean, I'm trying to think it's Marcus Sasser, who has been very disappointing since that rookie season. Neither of those teams have been good in my opinion. Good enough. They haven't shown me enough.
I guess so, but I'm also basing it off of what I thought of these teams beforehand. Because if I was just going off of pure rankings, I would have Thunder 1, Spurs 2, Bulls 3, 76ers 4, Jazz 5.
But I think you could win
like,
games without looking that impressive. I don't think the Bulls are like the most impressive looking team, but they still have 3 wins. They still outplayed their opponent 3 times.
You're right, but it's not like the Thunder have had these impressive wins either. Yes, they've been winning overtime games that are close, but did they blow out one team? Did they even have a blowout win yet this season?
Because it was close first. The first 2 games were close for sure. I forget.
And then this last game, they almost gave up. They almost gave up a lead.
They did blow out a team, the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh yeah.
So
they did do that.
I mean, you could say the Hawks are supposed to be good, and they blew them out. But also, they were Jalen Johnson didn't play, Porzingis didn't play, and one other person didn't play. I'm forgetting who, but Risa J. I think Risa J didn't play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, But also, I mean, you could say if the Thunder were 1-3, but they're not 1-3. There's a reason that they closed it out because Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is so good that they are going to win those games versus a guy like a man or like it should be KD, but
Sure,
KD's the
yeah,
one
no,
not
I can
taking
see
shots.
that. But if wouldn't you looking at a team, if they can get it to the point of like having to be a closeout situation, right? And the other guy happens to beat you, the reigning MVP happens to beat you. You still played a really damn good game. I mean, a couple made shots here, a couple missed shots there, you win that game. So to me, they played a game good enough against the Thunder. Not to say that like losses should be considered wins, but you can look at them as quality losses. A close loss to the Thunder in double overtime is a quality loss. It's the same with the Pacers.
Maybe, but I think a better team utilizes Kevin Durant more. And I know that like Sengun was hitting shots and Amen Thompson was doing his thing when he was driving.
Yep.
But it's different. There's a difference between those guys being the reason you win, where I can see that as more of like not a fluke, but not as well produced as if Kevin Durant was closing that game. Like that,
No,
Kevin Durant playing how he played, where he just didn't shoot the ball in the
is
clutch. That's what moved my opinion on the team.
is
That's what moved
Chet
it there.
is Chet shooting 80% from the field every game? Is Chet having the greatest shooting game of his career every game? No,
No.
he's not. So you can make these arguments about Şengün and you can make these arguments about other guys contributing to the win. But if Chet doesn't go absolutely insane in that game, then the Thunder aren't even in it for Shea to be able to pick it up because Shea was not good. Shea was getting locked up at the beginning of that game in the first half. And then he turned it on, right? As we expect a former MVP to do.
I guess. I don't know. I still just
And you also say a better team uses Kevin Durant more, but it's their first game of the season, and it's their first game with Kevin Durant.
that's why I have him so low because we're judging it based off week one. I'm because I like the idea of using pre-notions from like before the season, yeah, but you can lose games and still look impressive to me. So I think that's really what I base my list off of is how did they look? Like the Nuggets and Cavs obviously won more games than they lost, and they looked good doing it. The Bulls though, like I'm trying to. I mean, I guess most of my teams have like a positive record. I don't really have any that are. I mean, the Portland Trailblazers are 2-2, but they just looked good. Like every time you watch them, it's like okay, they're actually running the offense the way they should. They should. They're running their defense the way they should. Whether shots fall or not,
Yeah.
maybe that's what. Versus like for me, I had the Hawks as the 3 seed and the Clippers as the 3 seed going into the season.
Yeah.
Neither of these teams because it wasn't just them missing open 3-pointers. Like no, just the whole offense of both teams have been awful.
This is my other thing about the Trailblazers is
defense.
let's see how the coaching affects them going down the line of this season because we saw what the Kings did when they switched their coaches last year and they took off all of a sudden and they looked a lot better and then they just went back to playing the same old basketball they'd always played. So sometimes that invigorates a team and it sticks and sometimes it invigorates a team and it doesn't stick. So we'll see if Thiago Splitter is someone who can come up with a game plan. I highly doubt Chauncey Billups is coming back to the Portland Trailblazers.
No, I think they're 1-1 under each coach. I believe both of them played.
So yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised you didn't have. I mean, I know they're like 2-1. It's not like they're 3-0 like a Bulls or something. But yeah, I think the Heat have looked so impressive to me. And maybe it's just because I had low expectations for them. But the fact that they've played 3 tough teams, they've played the Magic, they've played so they lost to the Magic, and then they beat the Knicks.
did they beat the?
Oh, sorry.
I think they did beat the Knicks.
Who
Yeah,
did they play?
they beat the Knicks.
Oh, they beat the Grizzlies.
They lost to the Grizzlies, or they beat the Grizzlies by a lot, and they lost to the Magic.
And the Magic was a close game, and it's a team that, yes, they are the Magic's only win, but they are supposed to be a good team. So it is a good win,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't look like it right now. And then I mean, a lot of people were pretty high on the Grizzlies, at least being a plus 500 team in the West. So that's a really good
I
team.
mean, but the Grizzlies haven't looked, aside from that first game, they haven't looked great. To be honest, I mean,
No, well, they're what, 2-2? Who was their other win?
they're are they 2-2?
Yeah, they're 2-2.
Who was their other win? Was
They
it
blew out some team. I don't remember what it was.
Pacers?
Oh,
And-
which
And yeah,
it
Mathurin.
makes sense, but
Mathurin got hurt in that game in the third quarter.
it makes sense to beat the Pacers, but it was like a blowout. And it actually, like, yeah, Mather got hurt in the third quarter, but I'm pretty sure the game wasn't close like the whole time.
I
could be
mean,
wrong.
the eventual difference of the game was 25 points, and between the fourth quarter and the third quarter, there was a point differential of 17 in the favor of the Grizzlies.
Oh
So
no, it's
at halftime, it was an 8-point game.
okay. Which I mean, they still kind of had a good lead, not a super safe lead, but yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's kind of my opinions on everything. We can't really
Yeah.
overreact too much. I feel kind of nasty having the Spurs this high because I still do kind of think as a team they're not that good.
No, but you have to respect what they've done so far. I mean,
I'll respect a
do
couple
you,
players in
we
that
have
team.
all of our undefeated teams on here. Do you think they're better than the Bulls? Do you think they're better than the Sixers? Or have they looked better? I think they've looked better than both those teams to start the year.
Yeah.
Um,
Besides the Thunder.
yeah, and the Thunder are the Thunder. But Victor Wembanyama has been the best player in the league through the first week. So
Yeah.
and they're winning because of it.
Not mad at it.
Yeah.
Warriors being that guy that high, I'm fine with. We had Sixers the same.
Yeah. No, and it's same thing. I'm not mad at your rankings. I think they're all fair given what we've seen. I think just a difference of mentality. I think I'm going off more of what I thought before the season and just moving teams around as they performed in the first week. And you're kind of just saying this first week is the first time we've seen these teams, and you know, this is what I have to go off of. And I think both those are fair ways to look at it.
Yeah. I could have put Clippers 10. It's just you can't lose that bad to the Jazz.
No.
That was absolutely embarrassing.
I think that unfortunately, until they get a big win, which they might tonight against the Warriors, sets the tone for the season. You kind of need, because the two teams they beat haven't been very good since then. Those are teams like, and again, the Jazz are a team you'd expect them to beat. But the teams that they've beat since losing to the Jazz are the Blazers by 7, and then they blew out the Suns. But the Suns aren't a very good team.
No. So that's one decent win.
So a decent win against a team that you have top 10.
Yeah. 10.
And
yeah.
then legitimately, I mean, the game was 78 to 47 at halftime,
So embarrassing.
which is just crazy. It's just crazy.
And also to go along with the Pistons thing, I will just say they got embarrassed last night.
Against the Cavs?
Yes. Like
Yeah.
the starters barely played the second half, which is just so. I mean, I honestly, I'm not really that, because I think I had the Pistons before the season as the 5 seed. You can sway me to them being mid again, like 41 win type of team. But I don't know. We'll
But
see.
Cavs are the number 2 team for both of us.
Yeah. Cool.
So-
All right. So that's our power rankings. We're gonna be doing one every single. It's either a week 1 power ranking or week 2. I don't know what you really call it.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like the preseason one should be week 0 technically.
technically, I guess we did our, like, we didn't combine them, but we did do our Eastern and Western Conference standings. So,
Yeah. So
anyway,
I'd
we'll
like
be
to
doing
call
one
it
of these
one.
every week. And if you guys want to tune in and check it out, feel free to.
yeah.
Um,
All right, next thing we got to talk about, because we haven't talked about it at all since it's come out, even though it was like a whole week ago, but things just keep adding up. Or maybe we did kind of on the pod.
we mentioned it briefly, but what everyone's talked about it. If you don't know, if you've been out of the loop, last week, 30 people in total were arrested by the FBI due to charges involving sports betting and insider trading and illegal gambling activities. There was a poker ring that got shut down involving Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups. There was evidence that Terry Rozier had provided insider information to his friends to bet on his games when he was going to exit early with an injury. And it was Damon Jones also got arrested due to providing bettors with information on LeBron James' injury status and injury status of other Lakers players. So this is a very interesting situation on a number of levels. And let's just start with, I think, the people being charged themselves. I think that's the best place to start. Terry Rozier was previously investigated by the NBA for activity involving not game fixing, but bet fixing, illegal betting activity, sitting out games intentionally. And the NBA found no wrongdoing. This was back in 2023. So this was 2 years ago. Now this FBI case is listing that 2023 season, 2022-23, as when that happened. It was March 23rd, 2023. He sat out a game. Or not sat out a game, but he left a game early. He said, I'm going to leave early with this injury. He told his friend. His friends told like 5 or other people, and they put money on it. And then Terry Rozier, sure enough, left early in that game. The FBI has also released information since then stating that the NBA knew about this activity a year prior to these arrests and did not take any action regarding it, which is, if that's true, these are kind of people's accounts of what's in the file. If that's true, that's pretty damning for the NBA.
Well, they're saying that was it the NBA or the FBI saying that they shadow banned essentially Terry Rozier? Like they like last year in the middle of the season, they forced Terry Rozier to go out with an injury because he pretty much got caught with this scandal. Did you hear about that?
I have not heard about that. What I know is that what's in the file is that, according to the case documents, it is alleged that Terry Rozier, or sorry, that the NBA knew about Terry Rozier's activity up to a year ago. So it is possible that the injury thing um, was a result, like them making him sit out due to an injury was a result of that. I think that's still too weak of a response. I think that's a cover up response. And if you are an NBA historian and you like these conspiracy theories, then you probably think the NBA has covered up some other stuff. Michael Jordan in 1994, having to go play baseball, right, and retiring from the NBA, right? But
It's so obvious looking back now.
I-
I don't care. Like looking at all this going on, Michael Jordan definitely did not just want to play baseball for his fun. Like it was a gambling thing.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting because you look at what leagues like the MLB have done. Sorry to people that are really specific. I know when I say the MLB, people are like the Major League Baseball, but what am I supposed to call it? Anyway, if you look back at what they did to guys like Pete Rose in the 80s, due to his betting activity, I think it was the 80s. It might have even been back in the 70s. That was harsh. I do you know what happened?
I
with
don't
that?
know what happened.
So Pete Rose basically bet either like his overs or his team. I think he bet just on his team to win. I think that's all he ever did was just bet on the Cincinnati Reds to win games, and the MLB as a result banned him from getting into the Hall of Fame. Now this is baseball's like pretty much all time greatest hitter for a lot of his life, right? Like I think he probably is still considered one of, if not the best contact hitter in baseball history. I think he's the all-time hits leader in baseball history, though I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but yeah, just recently he passed away last year, I believe it was, or earlier this year, and then the MLB said, "Oh, he can get into the Hall of Fame." So they waited until he died to make sure that he died with the knowledge he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, and then said he could get into the Hall of Fame.
That's
Insanely harsh, right?
yeah. Why even switch it up after that? Like just kind of keep.
For public image, because people hated the fact they did that to Pete Rose. They hated the fact that they've, made sure that Barry Bonds can't get into the Hall of Fame because of his steroid use, even though it was rampant and the MLB allowed it. Anyway, this is a tangent. Going back to this, you look at historically what other leagues have done. The NBA is not a league that I think could afford in the 90s to ban their headlining player, their best player ever, the guy who changed the image of the league from a sport that was looked at as kind of dirty at one point to a global phenomenon, and take him and ban him from your league and taint his image. Not even like to talk about them saying Michael Jordan can't go in the Hall of Fame, right? So it makes total sense that they would try to cover it up. And it makes total sense that Adam Silver would try the same tactics that David Stern did, considering that he was kind of like an apprentice of David Stern's. But it's too weak of a response. It's Terry Rozier. That is a guy who, if you banned him from the league, it sends a message. And I mean, no one's going to care that much. Like, people might be upset for a minute, but I think it's a very weak response. And the fact that the NBA knew about it shines very poorly on Adam Silver as a commissioner, especially as someone who's been viewed as weak at different points in time.
Yeah. I mean, the image, we were talking about this earlier, the image of the NBA does not look good. Now, personally, when it comes to money and sponsorships, this might not affect the NBA for so many years because they have so many different brand and endorsement deals going on that last like 10 plus years that like it might not affect their money. But eventually, because let's be real, sometimes with the NBA, if you go and talk to someone like just out in public about it, like a lot of people just don't like the NBA anymore. It's like a good vast majority of people. And sometimes it's like that with college sports, like even like some people don't like the NFL versus college football, but it's like way more drastic. Eventually it will catch up. I don't think it'll catch up soon because of how big social media and younger people are, and younger people aren't going to care about this. They might even find it funny, or like, oh, look, he rigged this so that I won the bet, or like something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually this will be a really bad look, and it's just Terry Rozier. You got to make an example out of someone.
Yeah.
And the problem with the Jonte Porter thing is you made an example out of him, but Terry Rozier, it sounds like to me, because you said it was like 2023 of March.
It's the funny thing is it was the exact same thing that Jonte Porter did. Almost. Jonte Porter did more in his actual games to like shave his like basically shave rebounds off. Like there was one game where you can see like he could have gone for a rebound and he just like completely backs away from it at the very end of the game, and that would have put him over his line.
Yeah.
But he did the same thing, exiting with injuries early, to make sure because he would have people like bet on his lines, then he would go under and stuff like that, and that's exactly what Terry Rozier did, and it happened around the exact same time. So it was a very obvious choice of we're going to punish Jonte Porter, but not Terry Rozier.
And I guess from a PR standpoint, that's saying that, hey, not everyone is doing this, but this one dude did it, so we're going to ban him, so you don't. But if it did come out that like 4 or 5 different NBA players are doing it, now all of a sudden it's like, okay, is everyone betting on their own games?
Yeah. And it's one thing, and this is maybe a bit of a hot take. I don't care if players bet their overs. I don't care if players bet on their teams to win. To me, that just speaks confidence.
Okay,
Unless
that kind of
it's
depends, though.
unless it's like a guy's gonna start shot chucking because he bet his over
That's
on
what- yeah.
points. That's the one instance. But if a guy's betting on his team to win,
Yeah.
I really don't have a problem with that. I got to be honest with you. But when you start betting your unders, that's when it becomes a big problem. And with prop betting being such a widespread and easily accessible thing now, that bird just flew into the fucking window,
I heard that.
dude.
I was like, what is that?
I don't know if the mics picked it up, but that bird's been flying around back there, and all of a sudden it just fucking boom.
Got pissed at you.
Dan, he
liking
was
this
not
gambling stuff.
not happy, man. But no, prop betting has become so widespread now that I think it's really hard to moderate it.
Well, gambling in general, the second you start just betting, oh, I'm just going to bet on team wins. Even NBA players with millions of dollars are going to get bored and be like, oh, this isn't enough. Now I want to bet on my own props. We'll do points. Oh, now we'll do 3-pointers. And then 3-pointers, especially and assists, that's where it gets super, like you can't bet your overs on those because then you might start chucking more threes, start passing more. So like, I really think if it was ever going to be regulated, it just has to be team wins. Like not even spread. You can't do spread because that's also when it really messes up. And
I mean, there's that whole thing about LeBron. I think Mateen, our friend Mateen brought it up. LeBron has the most games in NBA history, percentage-wise, where he has won the game but not covered the spread, which may just be a weird coincidence.
It could be.
But the fact that percentage-wise, a guy that's played that many games, and I'm not saying, look, I'm not going to go out there and say, I don't think there's anything going on involving LeBron James. I don't. I truly don't. I don't think LeBron James is that stupid to do that, especially with how much he's taking care of his image. But it just goes to show what a player could do if they really wanted to. When you're betting spreads and stuff like that, and then your team's winning, so no one really cares except for the bettors, and when the bettors complained, they get called degenerates. So it just kind of is this feedback loop of you can keep getting away with it as long as you're winning.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, not too much more I can really add. One thing I will say, I mean, we could talk about the other situations going on, like with James Jones and like with Chauncey Billups.
Damon Jones, right?
Or yeah, Damon Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was like, did something happen to James Jones too? Or?
I guess I when I hear Jones and LeBron James, all I can think of is James Jones.
I mean, I get it, yeah, but
the one thing I will say is you did say what there was 30 people
30
arrested
people
at the same
30
time.
people total. I know 5 or 6 of them were quote unquote accomplices to Terry Rozier, so people that his friend had told to bet his lines then and knew that it was coming directly from Rozier. There was a bunch of people involved in that underground poker ring that Billups was involved in that also got arrested. So that's kind of the main group right there.
Yeah, I don't want to attack it too much because we are a basketball podcast. I don't want to get too much into the legalities and conspiracies and all that. But I will say 30 people were arrested. 20 of them were pretty much for mob and mafia poker related things. And it's kind of interesting how they decided to wait to arrest these NBA players with them so that it wasn't this big thing of mobs and mafias really taking over America. That's my personal thing. I think the NBA players kind of got, not that they didn't deserve to get arrested, they did.
Yeah.
But the fact that they tried to time it up perfectly and it is the FBI,
Yeah.
there could be like an agenda going on about just something.
I think so. And it was
that is
crazy.
weird. Like, why wouldn't you just arrest them the second that you found out
And
versus going all at
Well,
once?
because it's all about building the court case, right? So a lot of the time, I mean, people don't get arrested until years after they find out that they're actually doing these crimes because you have to compile evidence and it has to be concrete enough for you to feel like, because once you arrest them, the court case basically starts. Like you're in the court of a public opinion, but it's also like you have, at that point, you can't collect evidence anymore, right? You have completely shut off your valve on evidence. So you have to be 100% certain at that point in time that either this is all the evidence we need to be able to pin these guys on these charges, or this is 100% the most evidence we're going to get. This is the best we're going to be able to get. So that's why they don't, go after him right away, because they knew, but they wanted all of the, accounts from other people. What happened with Terry Rozier, why they eventually like just went after him, is because someone who knew that it was going on snitched. Not one of the people that bet, but one of the friends told the FBI that it was going on, right?
Wow.
So, I mean, it happens, and but no, it's crazy reading the article. Like when we say mafia mob, we mean mafia mob. They said a lot of the main like primary mafia families were involved. Bonanno, Gambino, like you think of it, you name it. I think they were involved in this, which is kind of crazy. I mean that it was that extensive, and who knows? Like they throw those names out there. It could have been someone that was a part of those families, but wasn't some high level like ranking member.
It could be, but there's also only so many people who are rich enough to do these underground poker games.
And that's true too. I did want to talk about Chauncey Billups briefly, because the charges being filed against him do strictly have to do with that poker ring. But within the Terry Rozier case, there is a individual named co-conspirator 8, or labeled as co-conspirator 8, who's was a former NBA player turned coach, whose career timeline exactly fits Chauncey Billups, and who on March 24th, 2023, a day after Terry Rozier sat out his game, provided information to bettors that the Portland Trailblazers would be sitting several key players in their game that day, and $100,000 was bet on the Trailblazers before the injury information came out, and then the lines moved, right, but the Trailblazers ended up losing by 28. And when you think former NBA player turned coach, career timeline exactly fits Chauncey Billups, who had insider information about the Portland Trailblazers, it almost is undoubtedly him. And that's, I don't know what those charges are going to look like if he's going to get wrapped up then into this Terry Rozier case. But it is certainly, I think, another instance against Chauncey Billups, which is just, it's odd to me why someone who is in the Basketball Hall of Fame and has a Finals MVP would even try to get involved in this and defame themselves like that. But maybe he just doesn't care. Maybe he's just trying to make more money. I don't know.
Maybe basketball lost its rush. You need to get a rush from something else. Some people literally do just commit crimes just to feel something. And it's,
And no, we don't have to talk too much more about this. I do just want to go to Adam Silver real quick, because I think out of everybody in this case, this reflects the most poorly on Adam Silver. Now, will this affect the NBA's bottom line? Probably not, right? And that's the sad thing, is this probably won't affect the NBA's bottom line, and we probably won't see a change. I saw an article published by ESPN today about why you should bet on Cade Cunningham to win MVP, right? These guys do not care at the end of the day. They care about their public image, but if their bottom line is being met, they're not going to care too much. And that is the problem, I think, with the NBA now, is that, yes, David Stern was an asshole, and players did not like David Stern. But David Stern made the image of the NBA better. He really did more for the NBA than any non-player has done, if you really look at it. And Adam Silver came in to a league where players were upset with the higher-ups in the league, the commissioners and all that, and he made it kind of his agenda to make the league more player friendly, which is not a bad thing at all, but it has gone way to the extreme now. And I think, I don't know if the betting is an example of it, but I feel like it kind of is in some way. And yeah, I think Adam Silver needs to, between the Kawhi Leonard situation and this one, shit's always going to happen in pro sports. There's always going to be cases that reflect poorly on the league, right? It happens in every single professional sports league, but the MLB and the NFL are better at managing it, and the NBA needs to get better at managing it real quick, because the way that they're handling it right now and how much it's getting in the public eye and how bad it looks for the league with the way that they are just letting it happen seemingly is not good. I'm not asking the NBA to change. I'm asking the NBA to get better at managing their product.
Yeah, it just sucks that Adam Silver is going to be the commissioner for so long, because once you meet your quotas, sometimes the other things don't matter.
He'll be the commissioner until he doesn't want to be. Like you said this earlier, and I agree. I'd be shocked if he were to be forced to resign at any time in his tenure. I mean, he's the one that pushed this sports betting thing from the beginning. In 2014, I told you, he publicly said Congress should look into allowing sports betting to be legalized on the state level. in like widespread ways. He was a big proponent of legalizing it and allowing it to happen for these leagues because he felt like it would reduce um, like illegal gambling. He felt like it would bring those underground rings to light. But the problem is now that we have Prize Picks, Underdog, DraftKings, Fliff, like all of these different sports betting apps that you can just access on your phone, it's too easy. There is no way to regulate it. There is no way to control it. It doesn't bring any of it to light because it can happen with the tap of a button under a VPN and no one knows about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's crazy that some of the things we could bet on, and we live in Utah where
Yeah.
betting shouldn't even be legal.
Right?
Like,
Yeah,
things
Underdog.
that, yeah, Underdog, you can bet on teams winning now, which is ridiculous. That shouldn't be allowed. I don't know.
No, it's kind of crazy.
It's unfortunate that Adam Silver has been so successful at whatever he wants to do because it really sounds like his idea of basketball or his culture has been box score watching and gambling.
And highlights.
And
I mean, his whole
highlights.
thing about it being a highlight sport.
And that's the three things that people have adapted the most in the last 10 years, 15 years is box score watching, which I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll box score watch too because I can't watch every game, but still just watching the highlights is most people, not me, and then gambling, which I mean, everyone bets on games now.
And people are missing a truly beautiful game. I mean, the quality of basketball that is being played right now is probably the highest it's ever been. I know people talk about the 2000s and the 90s and the 2010s and every other era aside from this one as being incredible basketball. But when we look back on this era, I think we're going to be disappointed that it wasn't marketed better. Giannis Antetokounmpo is what, 31 now? Nikola Jokic is 30. These guys are getting older, right? And yes, the NBA still markets Steph Curry and LeBron James, but because that work was done for them already. They have not been good about marketing these players. They haven't been good about marketing their games. They haven't been good about marketing the game of basketball.
But it doesn't matter because they're marketing the gambling aspect.
They're marketing
and if there's
the
a game
money.
to bet on,
Yeah.
people will bet on it, and that's why they'll watch it.
And it's just sad because every time I turn on an NBA game, I see something impressive. And I think that's the sad part is people box score watch. They just care about who wins and who loses, and nothing else matters anymore. And that's a bit of the world we live in now too, where it's reactionary and who wins is going to get praised immediately and who loses is going to get shamed immediately, right? There is no barrier. But it is just unfortunate because there's so much great basketball being played right now by so many guys, and nobody cares,
Yeah.
you know?
So I don't have too much more to say. I said all my piece. And
Yeah.
what about you?
I'm good. I've said everything that I feel qualified to say.
All right.
Maybe even a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
um,
All right,
yeah.
cool. You want to get to the next topic?
yeah, let's move on. So moving on to actual basketball, the 2025 rookie class has been spectacular.
So much better than last year's.
I mean, and maybe it is just because last year's was such a like mid to bad class where it's like you have a lot of guys that might be solid contributors eventually, but very few real star players.
yeah.
But my God, this class has come out firing immediately. Let's just start with the guy that I think everyone's talking about. VJ Edgecombe comes out and drops 34 on opening night, most points in a rookie debut since Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain, are you kidding me? And then follows it up with two efficient games that he also played really well in, if not better. And that's the thing that strikes me about him is his efficiency. He's not just scoring; he's scoring on the looks that he's getting within the offense as the second or third option.
He's shooting 50, 40, 75.
Insane,
For
insane. Like
a rookie who, I mean, let's be honest. Like he wasn't super impressive at Baylor, but everyone saw the potential that he played.
I think
25, 6, and 6.
I think if you asked most people what they saw him as going into this draft was probably like a good defensive wing or guard, right?
Yeah.
Like not somebody
Someone who
you're
could
gonna
like
run the
maybe
offense.
take off in like 2, 3, 4
Yeah,
years.
a good like a Shaden Sharp kind of like a good lob threat, super athletic, but maybe isn't gonna maybe he'll develop eventually, right? For him
Yeah.
to come out of the gates like this is incredible. I mean, we saw it on draft night. That dude is hungry for it. Like there is like a level to it because of his story and his struggle growing up, and every prop to him, every kudos to him for coming up from that. He's hungry and he wants it and he is unafraid. There is not an ounce of fear in who he attacks or who he goes at on the basketball court. He wants the shot. He doesn't care that he's on a team with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Not that he's being selfish, but he's like, he knows I'm that dude. I'm going at whoever is in front of me, and I am not scared.
And the most impressive part is him because you could kind of see, okay, he's hungry, he's gonna get to the rim, he's athletic, but him shooting 40% from three on like some step, like sometimes it's catch and shoot,
Not just catch and shoot though.
step back three,
Yeah.
him creating for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just Philly winning. I mean, they are
Yeah.
3-0 because of a rookie. Like
Yeah.
you can say, oh, but he's playing 40 minutes.
It's Tyrese Maxey and him.
But they haven't lost a game.
No.
If he's playing 40 minutes, you think, oh, he's gonna get a bunch of the stats, but they're gonna lose because it's a rookie playing 40 minutes.
And
No.
and honestly, yeah, he's played 40 minutes, but there hasn't been a time when I've watched him on the court where I've said he shouldn't be on the court right now.
No, because they keep playing close games, and
And
also
he-
his minutes are winning minutes.
Yeah, his minutes are minutes. His minutes are winning minutes, and Joel Embiid is slowly becoming the third best player on his team, and we will see what happens to him moving forward. But I mean, it's kind of sad in some way that Joel Embiid has been relegated to this role. I hope he can get fully healthy and go back to doing what we saw him do before. Because if he can do that this year, Philly's starting to look dangerous in a way that I didn't think they would. Because I didn't think VJ Edgecombe was going to look this good. I was, decently high on him. I think I had him finishing third in Rookie of the Year. I thought he was going to be good.
I mean, we thought if anyone would be this good, it could be a Grimes, it could be a Jared McCain or of some sort.
Yeah, Jared McCain taking that, which we don't even know what Jared McCain's going to look like when he comes back. This might be the best guard rotation in the league.
Yeah.
But at
So,
least offensively.
In the minutes on the court, VJ Edgecombe, their net rating has been 7.
Mhm.
In the minutes off, it's been -9.
Yeah,
Bring that record-
damn.
Or -8,
Yeah.
-8. So a 14-point swing of him being on versus off the court is ridiculous. It's only been 3 games. I think a fourth one is being played tonight. Yeah, versus the Wizards, which they should win. Then again, they're kind of due for a loss, but overall, he's been amazing. I mean, I'm just even trying to think. No other rookies probably even had that kind of impact of not only the box score that we're talking about, or the points, the assists, the rebounds, but then also just how good the team is on versus off.
And let's not forget, this is not a guy that's coming into the NBA at 22 years old or 23. This guy's 20, and he's a young 20. He turned 20 in July. So
This ain't no Dalton Connect. I'll tell you that much.
No, he's the real deal, I think. And I know it's 3 games. I know it's maybe an overreaction, and he could fall off, but he has just looked the part. It's not that he's just putting up box score numbers. It's that he looks the part. Even in games where, or even in moments where he's not playing his best basketball or if shots aren't falling, there is no shortage of impact on the floor.
No. So I want to go ahead and talk about the second rookie in this class.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how I just said that VJ Edgecombe's probably made the biggest impact on versus off the court? That is not true. Cedric Coward.
Yeah.
There's been about 90 minutes of him being on, 90 minutes of him being off.
Mhm.
On the court, or off the court, he is the Grizzlies are a -29.
Mhm.
Meaning when he is not playing, the Grizzlies are getting blown out. When he is on the court, they are a +23. That is a 50-point swing.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's a small sample size. It is only 3-4 games or something, but that is like actually ridiculous because it's an equal sample size for both sides.
Yeah.
So he's been absolutely insane. He is an older rookie, so it could be one of those things where they're not going to develop too much. But overall, he's been absolutely amazing. I want to see what he's actually averaging: 16.5 points, shooting 70% from the field, 64% from 3, which I don't know how much the 3 is gonna hold for very long. But overall, he's been doing that kind of Grizzlies thing, that Grizzlies gritty, like, hey, I'm gonna be a role player, but I'm gonna do everything I can for John Morant.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we've seen Jalen Wells kind of take a step back this season so far. He did get hurt last year, but he's kind of doing what Jalen Wells did last year, but like to a way better extent. Some people are saying this was the steal of the draft. I don't think that's true. He was picked like number 11th, and I think that was like a fair 11th, and we still have to give the top 10 guys a chance. He is older than the other top 10 guys, but overall, I mean, the Grizzlies got to win. They did trade up to get that pick. So that I absolutely love. Seeing your guy thinking he's going to be great for my team and trading one of those first round picks that you traded Bane for was just, looking back, is now a great pick.
Yeah. No, I agree. Cedric Coward obviously had that amazing combine that really jumped out at people. I remember that kind of being the first time I heard his name really start jumping into talks like maybe this guy's top 10 even. And yeah, he's an older rookie, but even if he just stays at this level or a little bit below it, that's still a pretty damn good NBA player. That's a guy you want on your team for sure. And then there's a couple other guys I want to get into before we get into the headliner, because I think there's definitely one guy we're going to want to talk about a little bit more. Con Knuppel has been really good to start his career. He's been exactly what you'd hope he would be, and exactly what you'd expect him to be shooting. Or I should let me give like his full rundown of stats. He's averaging 15 points a game, 4 rebounds, 1.3 assists. So nothing much there, but he's shooting 55% from the field, 58% from three, 73% true shooting. Free throw wise, he's shooting 50%. I don't know why. I mean, he should probably miss like a couple shots because he's only taken 1.3 a game. But overall, this is exactly, if you're the Hornets, what you could have hoped for from Con Knuppel. You hope that he develops into more of a, guy that can rebound and distribute. But in terms of a shooter, he's exactly as advertised. And he's not getting as much attention as the other guys because he's on the Hornets. And also, I've really liked Jeremiah Fears so far. I think he has looked really good. Statistically, has not been on the level of some of these other guys. But
He hasn't made a 3 yet? That's kind of insane.
it is kind of insane. But he was going at Ja Morant in their first game. He looked unafraid. He looked fearless.
I think his nickname is Zero Fears.
Yeah,
because he wears number
because he
0.
wears zero. It's either zero fears or fears nothing.
Yeah, which both are pretty hard.
Yeah. No, he looks good. I think he's going to be a good piece for the Pelicans moving forward.
Derek Queen's actually looked really good.
Derek Queen too. I don't want to stat watch too much. I kind of am trying to like look at the guys that I've like watched, and I haven't watched Derek Queen too much. So
did you watch the end of that Pelicans versus Spurs game? Derek Queen was the one kind of competing. He wasn't stopping Wemby or anything, don't get me wrong, but he has already kind of shown those kind of playmaking strides that we kind of saw. Oh, never mind. 0.3 assists. Maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe it wasn't playmaking strides, but it was like feel. It was like feel of just like kind of knowing where everyone is on the court that I've already been impressed with. I mean, perimeter wise, like has already been an all right defender. I liked what I saw from him. Trey Johnson.
Yeah, shout out Trey Johnson. We were both high on him going into this draft.
And I'm still super high on him. 16 points per game, 47, 43, 100% from the free throw line. Probably not too many because he is a shooter. But overall, I just still could see him as a sort of Devin Booker kind of player. It's just shoot over you kind of guy, which, by the way, we were watching that Suns game yesterday where they almost...
They almost came back and won.
Wait, because it went OT. Did they lose
OT?
OT?
They lost in
OT. Oh,
OT.
because, Larry Marketing got the 50 ball.
Yep.
But, like, the way that Booker... Oh, my gosh. I see Trey Johnson being the type of player who can do that.
Yeah.
And then Dylan Harper has also been solid. I mean, it's pretty easy to be solid around Wemby. He's just throwing lobs to Wemby, getting wide open lanes. I mean,
but
I'm still gonna give him credit, but
it's still
way
like
easier to do that.
It's made people ask the question of like, damn, do we need De'Aaron Fox? Which is, I mean, if you're a rookie coming in, you and also shout out Stephon Castle. He's looked really good to start this year. If you're doing that as a rookie, then you're doing something right.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to the headliner. Number 1 overall pick, Cooper Flagg, has not performed quite to the level I think people expected right away. I think expectations are a little high, given that he is a rookie. He's 18 years old. And I think he'll be 19 in December. So he's still not like...
He is by far the youngest player.
He's super young, and he was the number 1 overall pick. And he has a lot of offensive responsibility. I'm not going to say he has the most offensive responsibility, but D'Lo has been absolutely awful to start the year.
He has the most because D'Lo doesn't play. D'Lo has been terrible.
Well, I would argue Edgecombe has taken on more offensive responsibility in the Sixers offense.
Oh, yeah.
But
Cooper Flagg's been handed all this responsibility that he probably didn't want. Why? Yeah. The fact that he has
to say
be the
he
point
didn't
guard
want
of
it,
the team.
I mean, I could say maybe he didn't expect it, but given what we've seen from him, I'm sure he wants it.
I'm sure he likes a good challenge, but I don't know. Being the point guard as an 18-year-old who's 6'9", whose handle is like he has a good handle for a 6'9" guy. He's a good passer for a 6'9" guy, but he should be a kind of like rim runner kind of guy. I mean, we saw Amen Thompson was not a point guard in his rookie season, and you could say the way that they drive can be kind of similar. I think Amen Thompson might be able to handle that point guard responsibility now a little bit more, but even then, Amen Thompson still isn't all the way a point guard. Yeah, this is the fact that Cooper Flagg has to do this on a team that should be in playoff contention. It doesn't look like it right now. Honestly, I'm not gonna
I'm not going to say I was right. We're 3 games into the season, but this is why I had concerns about the Mavericks, because I felt like this was a team built around a Luka Doncic type of player. And now you're trying to plug Cooper Flag into it. And yes, Cooper Flag, I think, is still going to be a really good player. I think he has every tool in the book to be a really good player. But he's just not a Luka Doncic type of player. This offense does not work around him being this like primary ball handler. And D'Lo certainly can't do that right now.
And that pisses me off because, I mean, you heard in the offseason, right? The D'Angelo Russell and Jason Kidd conversation that apparently happened where, well, D'Lo said that Jason Kidd texted him and said, hey, you are our franchise point guard. I want you here, like before he was even signed. So the fact that you want him and then to start the season, you don't even start him. And now Jason Kidd, after his first or second game or first or second loss in a post-game interview, said we don't have a point guard on the roster. Why would you sign D'Lo then? You could have got Russell Westbrook.
The fact that Jason Kidd even said that to him, though, in the first place, I don't know why you would say that to him. I don't know. I actually don't know why D'Lo would believe that with Kyrie Irving coming back in under a year. I don't know why D'Lo would even believe that he's going to be their franchise point guard.
Well, I think he just meant our franchise's point guard, not like the franchise point guard. Like kind of like
I guess like for this year.
Let me see exactly. You say something.
You're the point guard for this, but no. I think Cooper Flag's main like thing that people looked at him and said, okay, you're going to be able to make this impact right away was rebounding and defense. Now his rebounding numbers aren't great. He's only averaging 5.3 a game, but rebounding's a weird thing. I think that'll come to him. And his defense has been solid. I don't think he's been a defensive liability by any means. And he'll find his rhythm. But it is unfortunate the situation he's been placed into. I don't think the Mavericks fully comprehend how blessed they were to get a guy like Luka Doncic in his first season, right? Because this is not to say, because I'm not going to make any judgments on how good Cooper Flag is going to be. I think he'd have a really hard time being better than Luka Doncic, but he's a different kind of player. We have to evaluate them differently, and that's part of the problem. Luka Doncic was a ball handler when he came into the league. He was a point guard when he came into the league. He was used to getting his own bucket. He was used to creating. He was used to distributing. His downside...
Well, he wasn't point guard for the Mavericks, though.
I mean, he wasn't, but he eventually kind of played that role for them, like within the season, right? Once they figured out, okay, this dude is really good, and he can be our sixth.
What are you talking about? Rookie year?
Yeah, rookie year. He averaged like 6 assists.
But he wasn't.
7 assists.
Dennis Smith Jr. was that point guard.
I guess he was the positional point guard, but within the offense, Luka was the point guard. Luka was the main distributor.
I think it was pretty 50-50.
Okay, whatever. My point is...
That's what I mean. Like a 50-50 would have been way better.
My point is that Luka Doncic was a ball handler and a isolation scorer when he came into the league. Cooper Flag can do that, but he's much better at this stage of his career with who he is right now if you put him around a guy like a point guard who can get him the ball in the right situations and allow him to focus on his defense and rebounding. But instead, they're trying to run him as like he's playing small forward, isn't he? Which I don't think is his best position. I think power forward is his best position. Probably.
He's running small forward?
I think he has been, hasn't he? Because aren't they running...
With D'Lo on the court, they've been running him at point... Or, no, sorry, at small forward, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still getting those good amount of minutes. Also, by the way, yeah, Klay Thompson's been awful. I don't know if that's because of the lack of passing, but man, that dude...
Hey, man, he's focused on other things.
I don't blame him. I mean, I'm just saying he's been awful. I'm not saying he needs to. If it's still somehow working, just go ahead.
I mean, but the funny thing is, Cooper Flag has actually spoken highly about Klay in terms of like being a veteran that he can turn to in the locker room.
Because it sounds like Klay is being a good veteran,
and that makes sense. Klay is not a locker room like cancer guy. Like
no.
Klay, if anything, is just if there's one downside to Klay's presence, it's that he's a very confident guy on the court. But he's not like, I think that's why it worked in Golden State. You know, he was around two pretty big personalities in Curry and Draymond and was fine taking that back seat. But no, I think Cooper Flag will be fine. I think he's been put in a tough position by the Mavericks. I don't think it's his optimal situation in terms of the players put around him to succeed early. I think if you're the Mavericks, you need to immediately, right now, don't wait, immediately look into getting a real point guard. Not a D'Lo, a real point guard that you feel confident playing as a distributor, and then go from there. Because clearly they don't have confidence in D'Lo.
You're not gonna like this, but hey, Spurs are 4-0 without Fox. Maybe you try.
What do the Mavericks have to offer for De'Aaron Fox as a asset?
Well, they don't have the money to offer. Like the money is a matchup, I don't think, but like You could trade a guy like Derek Lively. I mean, if point guard's really what you
For
want,
Fox?
you put AD.
I'm not taking that trade if I'm the Spurs. Why would I trade for Derek Lively if I'm the Spurs?
You want to know why? Because you see how good Luke Cornett's playing, and you think, just let me get a better version of Luke Cornett. Wemby at the 4 with Derek Lively at the 5, the easiest lobs you'll ever see. But actually, Derek Lively is an elite defender.
The talent just doesn't matter.
It's got to be Lively being traded because
Oh.
Lively is awful without a point guard. So if you don't have I mean, I guess you'd be trading for a point guard, so maybe you keep Lively then. But yeah, then
Yeah,
you
what do
would trade.
Gafford and Lively bring offensively without a point guard?
Nothing. I think Lively's actually averaging like 4 points.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna look it
Like,
up real
like I
quick.
said at the beginning of the year, this is one of the worst constructed rosters in the NBA from a fit perspective, not a talent perspective. And I believe that's going to continue to show itself. And I hope it doesn't affect Cooper Flag because I do think Cooper Flag is very talented. Do I think he's going to be a superstar? For sure. Not necessarily, but I think he's going to be a very good player. I think he'll be an all-star at some point in his career if he's developed correctly. But we've seen players' development be messed up before. And he's so young that hopefully he'll have a lot of time to fix it. And this is an overreaction, obviously, to his first 4 games. But it's also an accurate reaction to his first 4 games. This is how it's looked so far, and it hasn't looked good. Like he had one good game.
They already can't make shots. Bring in Killian Hayes. No, that's a point guard. No, that's a point guard.
Oh,
bring
man.
in Markel Fultz.
Oh,
Frank Ntilikina.
brother.
Bring in Frank Ntilikina. Frank the Tank. Man.
Frank,
Not-
you know
well,
what?
that's not
Frank
the Tank, but-
Ntilikina, maybe there's people out here that still believe in him. But
I mean, they have. Wait. Who's the point guard that they like? Dante Exum.
I guess, bro.
Is he hurt? I haven't even seen him play.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, Derek Lively without Gafford, because Gafford's been out, is only averaging 17 minutes per game. You have to trade Lively because now the shows. I mean, it's only been
Yeah.
3 games. Maybe the 4th one.
Hey
he
man,
didn't
the
play.
Nets have like 7 point guards. Just call them up.
No good point guards is the problem.
You don't have to trade a lot for one of them. And I mean, unless the Nets are high on them. But
By the way, just quick little side thing. So I've been playing around with this website, PBP Stats, not sponsored, but PBP Stats, pretty much showing the on and off of each player.
Mhm.
It's crazy if you look at the Nets one because it says like when MPJ and Cam Thomas are on the court, they suck. When it's just Cam Thomas on the court, they suck. When it's just MPJ with no Cam Thomas, the Nets are actually like good. And you kind of watch the Nets play and how good MPJ's been. And I mean, he's still that guy that doesn't swing the rock, but
Yeah.
like
Well,
sometimes I look at MPJ as a guy who can kind of.
that's the thing. Cam Thomas is a prototypical 6th man. He is like a perfect 6th man. If he were to develop into like a Lou Will type of player, I think he would be a perennial 6th man of the year, at least candidate, and probably a multi-time winner. But as it stands right now, as a team's starting shooting guard, he is a black hole on the court. If the ball goes to him, it will not leave. So I think, and this is what we know about Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas is an extremely confident player. He's a very capable scorer, and he doesn't do much else. And that's okay. There is definitely room for guys like that in the league, but he is not a franchise cornerstone as it stands right now. He's not a Tyrese Maxey who can still defend to a degree. Well, I'm not even gonna say to a degree. Tyrese Maxey's a solid defender. I like
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey as a defender.
Kills his own.
He's a distributor too. He can distribute. It was like, and I know fantasy stats aren't everything, blah blah blah, whatever. But just looking at his box, I was like, oh my god, he had 40 points. He must have had like a great game, but he doesn't rebound, he doesn't get assists, like, and he doesn't defend.
He had
He doesn't do any other
more
facet of the
actual
game.
points than fantasy points, which is
No,
pretty
which
insane.
again, it sounds like such a degenerate way to think about it. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but no, he's a guy who is a perfect 6 man. He's not even Jordan Poole. I mean, I'd say he's almost a better scorer than Jordan Poole, but Jordan Poole can at least like distribute
You can.
and rebound somewhat.
And
Like,
Poole's not as bad of a defender as Cam Thomas.
No.
Like not nearly.
and people look at Jordan Poole and they're like, oh, Jordan Poole's a 6 man. Like, so that's the reason why the Nets didn't bring Cam Thomas back on a multi-year contract.
I hope that Cam Thomas realizes he's a 6th man going into the season, so he's not waiting for 30 million and he's just willing to accept 15 to 20.
Yeah,
Because teams will give him 15
a
to 20.
team might give him 28 million to be a 6th man. I mean, we saw it happen with Hartenstein.
Yeah, but
I guess
the
Biggs-
Thunder was a weird situation.
Bigs are a commodity, but you know what I
Also,
mean. Like,
bigs and defense, like, you know.
I mean,
I don't
hey,
know.
you know who could use a Cam Thomas right now? The Houston Rockets.
Yes, no, they need a point guard.
They
I
do
still think they need a point
I
guard.
still believe in a men as a point guard, but
Yeah. Okay, cool. Those are all of our main topics. If you have
Mhm.
anything else you want to add, I just want to add that the Hawks suck. I don't even want to go too deep into it, but I've been very disappointed as an Atlanta sports fan recently, and
hasn't been a
uh,
good time. Falcons lost to the Dolphins. Hawks have been losing. Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off home run last night.
that Braves didn't even. I mean, it was a good amount of time ago. Braves didn't even make the playoffs,
Yeah.
which is just
Which, by the
it's
I mean,
brutal.
just shout out that game last night. Off topic from basketball, but what a game, dude. What
Yeah.
a game. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. I think both pitchers, both starters are going to have to go a long ways because of how much those bullpens pitched, but we'll see what happens.
Went so late. I had to go to bed early. I was
Yeah.
not trying to watch that
Yeah.
game. Not after an 8.5 hour shift.
Shohei might come out and have the greatest performance of all time tonight. And I know he just did. He just did like a week ago, but it could happen again.
It could happen again, or he just didn't get. I wonder how many of those players would get good sleep after that game.
I don't think any of the Blue Jays are going to sleep well. I mean,
Knowing
how
that they had
can
to do
you?
all that and lose, yeah.
18 innings, you try your ass off the whole game, and you still lose. But hey, the last time this happened, Red Sox Dodgers 2018, won 18 innings. Dodgers won on a walk off in the 18th inning. Red Sox won the series.
So maybe this will fuel him.
And
Maybe
it was the exact same situation. Game 3, Dodgers Stadium. Dodgers went up 2-1. Walk off homer in the bottom of the 18th. Boston still won the series.
wow. So we're sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. You should bet that. No. Oh, never.
man.
Maybe eventually we'll be it's sponsored by a gambling company. I feel like unethical, but
Sponsored by
just know if we accept it, we're pretty broke.
it'll have to be like some like shitty like sports betting company, though. Like not it can't be like DraftKings or Underdog. It's gotta be like Flappy Bucks or Monster Bets.
Get 10 Flappy Bucks if you sign up using our promo code. Oh my god, Monster Bets.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've heard of that company. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. We're not even in a state that should has gambling legalized, but whatever.
But somehow does.
But somehow you can. Yeah.
The loopholes have loopholes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else to say? Anything else to add? There's a couple things that went on
Yeah.
that we could talk. Jazz somehow started 2-1. I don't
Laurie
know
Markkinen
how.
had the first 50-point game for the Jazz in 30 years almost.
Yeah.
While the announcers were glazing Carmelo. That was actually something we talked about. And I'm actually, this is what I want to ask you as our audience. How many of you know about Karl Malone? Because we're listening to the Jazz announcers talk last night, and they are just like glazing the hell out of Karl Malone, talking about all this stuff he could do on the court and how great he was as a basketball player and over again. And we're like, they have to know, right? Like they have to know. But Pat Bev didn't know. So if actual NBA players didn't know, is it just like people don't know what Karl Malone did? For context, when he was in college, he slept with a 13-year-old and had a child with her, and that child actually ended up going to the NFL. So it's well documented. Like people, like the information is right out there. But people just like don't.
I think I had to tell
No.
my dad.
Yeah,
I think my dad didn't know till I told him a couple years ago.
my grandma has been a Jazz fan for her entire like time living in Utah. She was in Canada and then she came to Utah, and she's probably been a Jazz fan for the last probably 30-ish years.
Yeah.
She didn't know either.
Well, you got to think about it like this, like the way that the news worked 30 years ago, like was it on TV? I don't know, but if it wasn't on TV, it was in the newspaper. If one time you just decide not to read the newspaper, like you just
missed
you
out
didn't
on
have
it.
to shit that day, like there's no reason to open the newspaper, and then like
That's
all of a
true.
sudden you don't know that because like how many different newspapers are? I
But
guess
okay,
aren't there, like
how much longer ago was that relative to what happened to Kobe? Like when you really think about it, because everyone knows about the Kobe thing. Like everyone knows what happened with Kobe in Colorado, but people don't know about Karl Malone. But how
was
what-
Kobe's was in '96? When
No,
was Carl-
Kobe's was in 2004.
It was.
Yeah,
Wait, this was like well into him being drafted.
yeah, you didn't know that?
No,
Yeah,
because I thought it happened in college. I thought it was like the college.
no, this was
in
summer
Colorado.
2004. I'm pretty sure, or it was either summer 2003 or summer 2004. I think the court case happened in 2004 for sure, because that was the season. I'm trying to remember. Okay, which season was it? It might have been 03 when it happened, because I remember the court case was. I can't remember if the court case was still ongoing during the finals or during the series they lost to the Spurs. I think it was during the series they lost to the Spurs. So I think it happened summer of 2002 even. And then
2003.
it was 2003. Yeah. So I mean,
I don't know why I always thought that he did that in college. I
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
he was well into
Wait, he
his
didn't go
NBA.
to college. I'm so stupid.
Oh my God,
He
yeah.
didn't go to college.
Oh
No,
my God. But
that's crazy. But
yeah, no.
so I mean, that happened what 2003. The Karl Malone thing. Well,
When,
that
when
happened when he was in college.
yes, but when did it become public is the thing. Did people know about that when he was going into the draft? Because maybe that is what happened. Maybe it came out when he was going into the draft and then that shit happened where it was like, people just didn't know about it. But he was like a top 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah, he was. But I mean, news didn't spread out that well, I guess. Let's see. I don't know. I can't find it. I could probably find it later. But it is kind of crazy how people don't know.
I mean, his son is Demetrius Bell, who played in the NFL from, let me find it.
I mean, I'll just be honest though. I found out from the internet. So if you're not on the internet that much, or
That's
if all the news was coming out when the internet
I
wasn't
mean,
a thing,
that's fair, I guess, but this guy played from 2009 to 2012, and I guess he wasn't like some like incredible player. Like he was an offensive lineman, so he probably didn't get a ton of attention. But I don't know, man. It's just a weird, and he met his kid. Like, I don't know.
yeah.
Weird,
Okay.
weird situation, weird thing. But yeah, I'm just curious. How many of you knew that about Karl Malone? Because apparently not that many people know. This feels like common knowledge, but maybe it's because we live in Utah and we're on the internet all the time.
So the legal lawsuit happened in '86, but it happened in '83, the actual event.
And the lawsuit happened in '86. So yeah, maybe it just got swept under. Hey man, we just talked about the NBA doing shady shit for like 40 minutes earlier, half hour, whatever it was. Maybe they just swept that one under the rug too.
Yeah, if you ignore things, because Malone did not publicly acknowledge Demetrius Bell as his son until Bell was 17 years old. Sometimes if you ignore things like celebrities, you ignore things long enough, and they actually do just blow over.
Yeah,
So maybe Malone just didn't say anything besides having to go to the actual
I
court
know. Like
cases.
how many people remember that Alec Baldwin shot somebody?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That-
on set. Like and it was a whole thing, right? Like there was they were doing a like western or something like that, and there was a prop gun, and somehow it got loaded with like real ammunition or something congruent to that, and he like fired it, and he shot like a she was not an I don't think she was acting. I think she was part of the like set design. And he shot her and she died. Like
That's
and people
insane.
just don't even like it's so out of like the public consciousness. And part of it is I think part of it now even is like there was such this sweet spot of like the internet and information where it's like you heard something and you retained it and you learned and you heard about everything that was going on, right? So people retained like a bunch of information from like 2012 to 2018, and now people just don't retain shit anymore because there's such a volume of it coming at you all the time. Like you just there's so much.
I noticed that
coming at
about you because you'll actually like really deep in and look at articles and research things when it
Mhm.
comes to like the pod or really like anything you're interested in.
Mhm.
I'd never go that deep into the articles. I kind of just ask AI and they give me the general overview. And then I'm just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Now I know everything and I don't need to learn anything else. But in reality, I don't know as much as I probably should about anything. That's why I just like actually watching basketball because I'm like, oh, this is the one thing I can retain. I can, if I
No,
watch
but I even noticed that too, dude. Like if I go on my phone during the game, I don't remember the game as well.
Yeah.
I legitimately have now started where I have to put my phone down. If someone texts me or calls me, I will answer it during the game. And if I'm checking, maybe I'll check fantasy basketball every now and then during the game. But I cannot go on some other. I can't look at it, like social media. Can't look at Instagram. Can't look at TikTok. Can't look at YouTube. I don't even like editing podcast stuff when I'm watching a game, really, because then I don't retain it. But at least I'm doing something that feels like productive to my life.
Yeah, you
right.
gotta like do it during the commercials, but sometimes you want to do it even more. And then once you get into the game, like sometimes I would like watch like a year ago, I'd like watch a YouTube video while I'm watching the game. But sometimes if a video is getting good, you don't want to just pause it because the game's back on. Because like, oh, what's really gonna happen during the game? And then all of a sudden you're down this rabbit hole of not actually paying attention, and
Yeah, and that's
next day
exactly
you kind of forget what happened.
Yeah, and so yeah, for me, I'm not an example of it by any means. I like still really struggle with trying to focus the attention one way or the other. But I do think it's super important to do that for a lot of reasons. Such an interesting experiment that I did recently was I just basically went on like TikTok, and I know how many people get information from TikTok. I was one of them. Like I got a bunch of it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go through my TikTok and find how many videos are like telling me something quote unquote factual, and then I'm gonna fact check it and see how correct it is. And at the very least, majority of them were like information that had been misinterpreted or framed in a certain way to like say something that wasn't actually accurate to what was going on. And at the very worst, a good amount of it was just a straight up lie. Like it just wasn't true at all. But how many people see that and take that as fact? You know?
Well, I watch actual. I think I've told you this before. I watch actual YouTube videos of these people who like clip things, and like they make a lot of money from it. But and their whole ideology when they're clipping it is there's so many different ways you can tell this one story that actually happened, but you can twist it so that people are more intrigued. So people literally will like twist the truth about, like, I'm even trying to think of an example. Like there could have been like, let's say like they clipped out some like Mr. Beast video and something happened for like 30 seconds of it that like it wasn't this big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the main part of the video.
Yep.
It was just like some side thing that happened. They would twist that into thinking like this, this really happened. This is how Mr. Beast disappointed his fan, and in reality it's like some stupid little clip. Like,
let's actually go NBA relevant for a second, or somewhat NBA relevant. If you've been on TikTok or you've been on social media, you've been seeing what people have been talking about with regards to Ayesha Curry and Steph Curry, right? And the context taken out, or the clips taken out of context, they do not look good at all, right? She's saying stuff like, "I never wanted kids. You know, my parents told me like, oh, you should marry Steph. I don't get male attention anymore." It sounds really bad, right? And I was like, this is stupid, whatever. She's married to Steph Curry. What are you complaining about? Like, but then I went back and I was like, let me watch the actual clips a little bit and let's see what the context of it was. And when she said that whole thing about never wanting kids and not wanting to marry Steph, I did see the context of that one. I haven't seen the context of the other one yet, but she says, you know, but I'm so happy with Steph and I'm so glad I did that and I wouldn't change anything about my life, right? So really the context of it is she is talking about her experience and the back and forth and her, you know, mental, like what do I do as like someone who wants to be an independent woman but is married to this like multimillionaire basketball player who is the breadwinner, and that kind of puts me in the role of being a housewife. Like, how did that make me feel? Is this what I wanted to do? But I'm happy, right? I've fully, like, I've accepted, like, she's happy with her life, and it's something that like now people hate Ayesha Curry, which I think there is like among sports fans, like there is very much like can be a woman hating like culture in terms of like, you know, that sort of thing. But
it totally was out of context.
But it was very out of context, and I haven't watched the context of the other clips, but you know, that's just one that I have like experienced recently that I even fell victim to before I checked myself on it, where it was like, yeah, like it's so easy, especially if you have those pre-existing emotions or ideas about women or men or basketball players or black people or white people or whatever. It's so easy to change, not even change, but just convince you that something's real because it fits what you already believe, you know?
Yeah. And on a less serious note, but more basketball related note, I saw one clip of like LaMelo Ball taking it was a stupid shot, a stupid step back three to like win the game. That was the only Hornets loss so far. Was LaMelo trying to play hero ball with 30 seconds left. But like someone clipped it out and captioned it like, "Oh, LaMelo back to his old way. This is why the Hornets will never win." After playing 47 minutes of unselfish quality basketball, LaMelo takes one bad shot. It wasn't like he was bad the whole game. This isn't a D'Lo situation. This isn't a Paulo Banchero situation. No,
oh my God. That was 10 seconds left, and he just threw that up. Like,
thank you, Magic, for our only win for Paulo taking that stupid shot.
Wow.
The Mavericks almost came back last night if it wasn't for this stupid D'Lo three-pointer that they did not need to take. But yeah, LaMelo took that one bad shot, but the rest of the game he was so good. And now all of a sudden everyone's back to thinking, not everyone, but there's some people, because they saw that one clip and that one caption, are back to thinking, oh, LaMelo is a losing player again.
Yeah, and let me loop this back to what we talked about earlier. This is why the NBA isn't a highlight sport. This is why that is the stupidest notion I've ever heard. Because people heard the commission, and people go, "Oh, it doesn't matter that he said that." How many people are listening to Adam Silver? He's the damn commissioner of the league. Lots of people listen to what he said, and it validates what they already believe, that NBA is a highlight sport and they can do what, you know, Flight Reacts does. And I'm not saying anything against Flight, but like they can do that and they get the full idea of the game. Flight probably watches the game before he reacts to those. Firstly, but anyway, like,
No, I don't think he does.
I think he does with some of them. I think he
I don't think he
genuinely
does.
does.
Because I swear I've seen him do interviews.
You literally say LeBron's never hit like a game winner before.
He said in it. Well, that's just because that his whole character is being a troll. But he did say before that like someone was interviewing him. And he's like, no, there's no point of ever, or for him specifically, there's no point of me ever watching an NBA game live. There's no point. Like I could just watch the highlights and then react to it, and then that's just.
I
what
guess
it
it's
is.
a,
You kinda get
for
the
him
whole
it's a
gist.
waste of time to like watch.
But like
the
he
gameplay.
shouldn't be the average. Like he's such like he's a parody. He is a
He
parody.
is, and that's why he's funny. But he's only funny if you take it in the context of this is almost satire
Or satire. I think that's what I'm
parody satire. It's
Yeah,
kind of in the same vein. But like, dude, this is why the NBA isn't a highlight sport, because you don't get a full idea of what's going on. And then people, I know, look, I get it. I want to be smart too. I want to always be right and know what's going on. And if I can look at highlights and take a minimal amount of effort to always be right, that sounds super ideal. That sounds great to me. But that's just not how it works. That's not how you get information and are able to build knowledge in the right way about something, especially a sport like the NBA. You have to watch the whole game. You have to understand the context. You have to understand why people did certain things. Like there's so many things where a guy probably like, you know, watched a highlight or somebody probably watched a highlight. Somebody probably watched a highlight and it was out of context and took it as being the entire context, that someone took a bad shot, a ref made a bad call, all this stuff. And it just creates such an incorrect perspective about the NBA, right? And these players. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of context things we could talk about for a whole hour, talking about like
Yeah.
reality TV shows and like literally anything.
But, I mean,
like, out of context.
We're an out of context world. Everything is about a soundbite or a clip or anything. Like even with politics now, where people get their clips from like social media, and it's something someone said at one point in time that makes it seem better or worse than what it actually was. And it's hard. It's hard to do your research when there's so many things going on. But you got to pick something.
Yeah.
If you're an NBA fan, then you have to say, I'm going to sit down and watch a full game of my favorite team playing once or twice a week, you know, or you don't have time, and that's okay. And you just want to watch the highlights, but understand that you're not getting a complete picture. That is the most important thing. If you're just going to watch the highlights, understand that it is entertainment, but you're not getting the whole picture of what's going on.
That's why I actually like to get the full context if I'm going to start hating on a team or hating on a player. But if I'm just going to praise someone, I'm just going to praise them, because I don't think I need too much context to praise someone for playing good. But when it comes to like people play bad, I'm like, okay, let me actually see what was going on and why they were so bad instead of just looking at the box score. But yeah, we can kind of end it there. I feel like we've gone on long enough. We actually had some very good conversation. If you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. Any final words, Cam?
Get context. I don't know. How do I end this in a relevant
They said
way?
get contacts.
Get contacts? No, actually,
you talking to me?
yeah, you get contacts.
I have contacts.
No, but yeah. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us, genuinely. Right? We work pretty hard at this, and you know, we come on here and we act confident, but we really care about this. This is not like something where we're like, oh, we can just, this is for sure or whatever. No, we put a lot of thought and effort into this, and we care about this deeply. So if you made it this far and you watched it this far, thank you so much. And I really hope you had a good time watching us, and I hope you continue to, and I hope we can continue to make content that you like.
Yeah. All right. Couldn't say it better myself. Peace out.